And go. Dominaria United spoiler hype video number 9. We're getting up there. Please excuse the. Had something wrong with my phone there for a second. Please excuse the glare. We actually have sunshine, a rare thing here in Washington State. So we're going to jump right into this and not waste a lot of time. When last we left off with the weather light completed. Wow. The weather light is now a Phyrexian. That is not good. So, moving on to the next card in our spoiler list, Slimefoot's Survey. For 1 green and 4 colorless, a sorcery with domain, search your library for up to 2 land cards that each have a basic land type and put them onto the battlefield tab. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Put one of them on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Hoo-ha! Now, I've had a lot of other content creators, and this was brought up on a live stream recently, are saying that now is the best time to invest in triomes, especially the triomes or trilands or whatever you want to call them that come out of the new Capenna set, because they include 3 basic land types. Now, think about this. You spend the 5 mana, the 1 green and 4 colors, for this, and you can search for 2 land cards that have a basic land type. Oh, look, triomes! You can have all 5 and then go basically scry for the top 5 of your deck and put the best one on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom. What's not to like about that? Well, moving on, because we don't want to spend a lot of time. We want to get through this without putting the time way out to it's going to take forever to upload. So, Stronghold Arena, 1 black and 1 colorless for an enchantment with kicker, 1 green and or 1 white. When Stronghold Arena enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life for each time it was kicked. So if you spend the 1 green, 1 white, and 1 black, and 1 colorless for this enchantment, you gain 6 life. And it also says, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. Well, you gain some life right off the bat, and then you have some life to spend for creatures that deal combat damage. Now, because the kickers are in green and white, oh look, those are colors that use stuff like lifelink. So, there's a fun little thing to to consider when adding, considering this is a very cheap enchantment. Next up is Urborg Lurgoyf. Return of the Lurgoyfs. 1 green and 1 colorless for a Lurgoyf creature that has star and star +1 with a kicker of 1 blue and or 1 black. As Urborg Lurgoyf enters the battlefield, Mill 3 cards for each time it was kicked. Urborg Lurgoyf's power is equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. So look, self-mill, if you're playing a Reanimator style deck, that's the Lurgoyf you're looking for. Next up is Baldovian Berserker. Now this appears to be in, I don't know, maybe Brazilian Portuguese. So it's Baldovian Berserker is 1 red and 2 colorless that has enlist, and when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's a core Berserker for 1 that has a power and toughness of 1/3. But it has that enlist thing, so we can deal damage equal to its power, and using that enlist, you can use a powerful creature, and if you expect it to die, just kaboom! It does damage. Not super powerful, but okay. We'll take that. Next up is Choking Miasma. 2 black and 1 colorless with a kicker of green. If this spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Oh my. We need deck destruction. Board wipiness for 3 mana. Hello. Next up, Timely Interference. 1 blue for an instant with kicker, 1 red and 1 colorless. Target creature gets -1/-0 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, that creature blocks this turn if able. Draw a card. Wow. That's for 1 blue mana and 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 colorless if you want to kick it and force it to block. That's likable. The next 2 cards up are insanely, I'd say, going to be insanely used in decks. First up is Rulik Mons, Warren Chief. 1 red, 2 green, and a colorless for a 3/3 legendary goblin with menace. Already, that's value enough. 4 mana for a 3/3 goblin with menace. But it also says whenever Rulik Mons, Warren Chief, attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you didn't put a card onto the battlefield in this way, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Yikes! Mana ramp or creature token creation? What's not to like about that? And this will pair with another card that's upcoming that I'll feature here in just a little bit. But right up now is, like I said, another card that's super powerful. This is Queen Alanal of Ruadak. 1 green and 2 white for a star legendary elf noble. Queen Alanal of Ruadak's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. And it says if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created instead. This card is going to see play with in the Jetmir decks that you cut out of Streets of New Capenna. I can see that being played. Well, actually, because we don't have Scoot Swarm anymore. Scoot Swarm is going out of standard, so it's going to probably see most of its play in like Jetmir deck or White Weenie deck where they're creating a lot of tokens. And as we've seen before, there's been a lot of cards that have been created that can create white tokens. So look out for this card. Next up is a reprint, Thrill of Possibility. 1 red, 1 colorless. For an instant that says as an additional cost to cast this spell, work mouth, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Next up is the card I was talking about with Rulik Mons earlier, and this is Colossal Growth. 1 green and 1 colorless with a kicker of red. Target creature gains +3/+3 until end of turn. That's big. But it says if this spell was kicked, instead that creature gets +4/+4 and gains trample and haste. Yahoo! You got the mana and you put Rurik Mons on the board, and you can put this kick that out. You can have a 7/7 trample haste menace goblin, and then you can do all the other stuff he does. Hoo-ha! Next up is Radadrabik of Urborg. Sounds like Raga Draga out of Baldur's Gate, but this is Radadrabik of Urborg. 1 white, 1 black, and 2 colors for a 3/3 legendary zombie wizard with vigilance and ward 2. Other zombies you control have vigilance. Can you say another zombie commander? Yo! Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Yikes! If you're playing with legendaries and your legendaries somehow die, this thing brings them back as non-legendary zombie tokens of themselves. Yeah, we want that. And they all have vigilance. What's not to like? Next up is Warhost Frenzy. 1 red and 2 for an instant with kicker of black. Creatures you control get +2/+0 till end of turn. If this spell was kicked, whenever a creature you control dies this turn, draw a card. Yep. Next up, Hurler Cyclops. 2 red, 3 colors for a 5/4 Cyclops that has 1 colorless, sacrifice another creature. Hurler Cyclops deals 1 damage to any target. Living Skull Catapult. Oh, not quite a Skull Catapult, but you can timmy some stuff with that. Sounds like fun to me. Next up, Hype, Hype, Hype. It may not be as hype as some of them, but next up is the new Lotus for the set. Timeless Lotus. 5 colorless. Timeless Lotus, it's for a legendary artifact that says, Timeless Lotus enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. Now, mind you, the casting cost on this is colorless. And colorless, you can ramp up the fastest of any color. I mean, look at Soul Ring. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So this is probably going to see a lot of Commander play. And as I stated before, some of the Commander cards that we've seen before, which I will be going over in a separate video. So I'm going to move on quickly so we don't spend too much time. But Timeless Lotus is going to seek play in Commander decks for sure. Next up is Voldalian Mind Singer. 2 blue and 1 colorless for a 2/2 Merfolk Wizard with kicker of 1 red and 1 colorless and or 1 green and 1 colorless. Voldalian Mind Singer enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each time it was kicked. When Voldalian Mind Singer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature with power less than Voldalian Mind Singer's power as long as you control Voldalian Mind Singer. So basically like a Mind Flayer, but it has a few little tweaks to it, and you can make it basically up to a 6/6 if you've got the mana. Next up is something that, again, will be quite useful. And this is Runvelt Horde Master for 1 red, 1 colorless. It's a 1/1 Goblin Warrior. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. Whenever Runvelt Horde Master or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature card, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn. There you go. Goblin Hunter. And finally, for the last spoiler of today, and we're all caught up now, this is Lagomos Hand of Hatred. 1 black, 1 red, 1 colorless for a 1/3 legendary human shaman. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, create a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And tap it to search your library for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate this only if you have 5 or more. If 5 or more creatures died this turn. Well, that's super fun. Well, this video is down over 18 minutes, so I'm going to say I'm going to end the video. We're caught up. See you on the next spoiler video.